Welcome to Backstage Pass, the podcast that gives you an all-access ticket behind the magic with the people who make Disney truly special, its cast members. I'm Dory, your host and fellow Disney fan, here to share first-hand stories from the cast members who bring the parks to life. From heartwarming moments to behind-the-scenes secrets, we're uncovering the magic together. So grab your Mickey ears, it's time to step backstage. Hello and welcome to Backstage Pass with Dory. I'm Dory, and this is another really neat episode. Before I get to today's guest, I want to start with a cast compliment, I guess we should say, borrowing from my Disney experience, where you can actually go into that app, and if you have a really good Disney experience, a magical moment with a cast member, you can give a cast compliment. So borrowing a little bit from Disney, but this is our chance to celebrate Disney cast members and tell stories of really awesome moments. This is one that came from our family, and this was a few trips ago. One of our favorite restaurants is Crystal Palace to go to. We love the buffet. There's a couple of standard things that we're always going to find, and then there's a few things that are always changing up. And no matter what, we think, oh, we're not going to go to Crystal Palace this trip. And we always go back. The first time we went to Crystal Palace was before they had brought back character greetings. And so we just fell in love with the food. And then we went back and fell in love with the character meet and greets as well. And in Crystal Palace, you are going to meet your friends from the 100 Acre Woods. You're going to meet Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Eeyore, and Piglet. Now, as it is right now, spring of 2025, we have three characters that roam around and come to your table: Tigger, Eeyore, and Piglet. And Winnie the Pooh is in the center section, and you can go up and meet him and have him sign things, and you'll have that full 4-character experience. They made this change recently in order to accommodate the timing that it's taking for all of our friends to go to each table. We've been and we've experienced both, where all 4 friends come to the table and where we only have 3 and then Pooh. And we love this new setup. So if you go and that's how it is, I actually think that we get more time with the 3 characters that come to the table. So I really, really like that. Now, the story that I'm going to tell is from before all of that happened. It's actually from when all 4 characters were coming to the table. We had a later seating. In fact, we were, I think, in the last group to come in for the night. So we sit down, we get Piglet, we get Tigger, we get Eeyore, and no Winnie the Pooh. And we had one of the cast members come and just check in. This wasn't our server, it was someone else, one of the people who assists the characters. And so they came around and she said, "Did you meet all 4 characters?" And we said, "No, we didn't meet Winnie the Pooh." And she said, "Oh, okay, well, let me go check." And she went back. Winnie the Pooh is eating his dinner right now. I'm so sorry. He might be able to come back later. By the end of the meal, he hadn't come back. So she came back to us and she said, "I am so sorry you didn't get to meet all 4 friends." And we said, "It's okay. We actually come here all the time. We totally understand. We were the last group of the day. Don't worry about it." And she said, "Hold on. Come back tomorrow between this time and this time." It was when she was going to actually be working. She said, "Come back tomorrow and we'll make sure that you get to meet Winnie the Pooh." And we said, "Well, that's really sweet. You really don't have to do that." And she said, No, I insist. Please, let's do that." And we said, "Okay, that's fine. We'll be back at Magic Kingdom tomorrow." So we went back the next day. Again, we had met Winnie the Pooh before, but we also really love meeting him, so we were okay getting that chance to go into Crystal Palace again. We also thought maybe we have another meal here, but our budget decided differently. So we go in, we see our friend, and we see Winnie the Pooh. We get to meet Winnie the Pooh, which was wonderful. And then she said, "Do you have a minute before you have to go and do something else?" And we said, "Absolutely." And she said, "Come with me." She walked us out of Crystal Palace, down Main Street, and into the meet and greet for Mickey Mouse. The front of Magic Kingdom meet and greet for Mickey Mouse. And she brought us in the VIP entrance. So we bypassed the line and got to have that amazing meet and greet with Mickey at Magic Kingdom. And I say all of this because don't expect that any of this happens. This is one of those magical moments. All of these that we share at the beginning of the episodes, these are all magical moments. But it was really cool because we had no expectation. We were okay not meeting Winnie the Pooh on that day. And we just were so gracious that she invited us back. And I don't know, I think that there was probably something about our kindness, and maybe my kids were really cute and she had some time to do a little bit of extra pixie dusting. And so I'm so appreciative of her for that. And what a cool, fun experience that we had, just that little extra time with the boss man himself. So there you go. If you have a special pixie dust magical moment because of a cast member, I would love to hear your story. Please make sure to go to the show notes. I give you all of the ways that you can share that. You can go to our website, and there's actually a place where you can click a form and fill it out. You can find us on social media, and you can send a message with your story. I would love to hear it and be able to share it in a future episode. Now, let's talk about Jessica. Jessica Brown is a Disney cast member in the Disney College program, currently working at Disney's Riviera Resort and Disney's Port Orleans Riverside Resort as a front desk assistant and concierge since August 3rd, 2024. She's a graduate of Christopher Newport University with a degree in psychology, and she is very passionate about helping and understanding others and making a positive impact in their lives. In her free time, you can find Jessica at a Disney park with her friends, reading a book, or watching musicals. And that's actually how I connected with Jessica. We were both part of this group in Richmond, Virginia called Character Works. It is an amazing, I hesitate to call it children's theater, but it is. It's theater for youth. And they put on the most professional, amazing performances. My kids have been involved in several, and I'm sure in the future we will continue to be involved with them. This is something that the parents get involved in, the kids get involved in. They have classes, they have a year-long academy course. They have a lot of really amazing, and summer courses too. And they have amazing opportunities for youth ages 8 to 18. I hope that it starts at 8. It might actually start before that in some of the classes. But anyway, Character Works is spectacular, not only for the theater that you get, but for the experience that you get as well. So anyway, little plug for them. I know that I'll plug them later on in the episode, but I just want to say that's how we were able to get connected. So you'll hear us talk about C-Works or Character Works. That's what we're in reference to. So with that, I want you to hear my chat with Jessica because her positivity is just infectious. And I know that she was placed in Concierge for a reason. So if you happen to be lucky enough to meet Jessica and to have that experience with her, just please give her a shout out, give her a cast compliment. She's pretty awesome, and the Disney College program is very lucky to have her.
I'm doing so good.
Good. I am so thrilled that we could do this, and I'm so thrilled that we got
Yes.
connected. We're going to get to what you're doing now, but I want to start back at young Jessica. Like,
Yeah.
let's go back to the beginning, and I want to talk Disney. I want to talk your background.
hmm
How did Disney enter your life? Like, were you a Disney kid?
Oh, absolutely. I've been obsessed with Disney since before I can even remember. I just
Uh-huh.
like Disney was just always part of my life. My parents are lucky enough to be Disney Vacation Club members. So I have also just been going to Disney at least once a year, every year since I was before I was even born, or I mean, before I was even born, yeah, because in my mom's stomach. But so I was going to Disney all the time.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, what is their home resort, or has it changed, or have they kept the same
It's
one?
Yeah, so it's Saratoga.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes, and I haven't picked up there, but it's my goal to pick up there as like a joke of like this is my home resort.
And then you actually get to work there then
I know that would be so magical. So that's like my goal before.
before you're all done.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so as you're growing up, are you going about like once a year?
Once, sometimes even twice a year. I
Nice.
mean, again, we are so lucky. So I know that
Yeah.
not everyone gets to say that. So,
I know we homeschool our kids. I have 11-year-old twins, and we were fortunate enough to go down to Florida a lot with my husband's job.
yeah.
And he had some work in the Tampa area. And so we would go along with him, and I would take the kids for a day. And before we were annual pass holders, we would go and do resort hopping. And so we got to go to all of the resorts and enjoy
Ah,
Disney without going into the park. So I understand when you talk about being fortunate and just those magical moments, there's so much.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, when you're going down, are you hitting all of the parks? As a kid, were you going to all four of the parks?
Oh, absolutely. I still remember like old Hollywood studios and like while I love it now, I remembered like the High School Musical show that used to be there when I was younger and like I just yeah, I remember everything about the old parks. I love the new parks too. But just
Hmm.
those are just some of my core memories.
Yes. Did you have a favorite ride growing up?
Oh, probably Everest has always been a very consistent favorite ride for me. I've just, even since I was little, I loved that ride.
I love it. Okay, are you a fan of backwards or drop? What is your favorite part of it?
Oh, the backwards.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's my favorite part. Me and my dad always look at each other when the track is like broken, like, oh no, the ride's over. The track is broken. And then we always go backwards. That's like just one of my favorite core memories too.
It's so good. Okay, and I have to ask because I just got to ride, I think it was in the front row for the first time my last trip. And it was a completely different experience because you're not
Yes.
whipped around as much. Like it actually was a calmer ride,
Mhm.
which I tended to like a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, do you have a favorite part of
It's
that?
actually the back.
It is that you like the back.
I like the very back row because you get really whipped around.
Yeah.
I do like the front row too because that's a fun experience going up the hill.
Hmm.
But for the backwards part specifically, the back row.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to see if so my son rode it for the first time and loved it. My
Oh,
daughter has been a fan for years. And
oh,
so yeah, so I'm going to see if I can get him on the back then the next time.
oh, you
Maybe
absolutely
my
should.
kids can ride in the back and I can ride in the front. Maybe that's what I'll do.
Exactly. I mean, just ask the cast members. They're always so accommodating.
They are. You guys are just so magical. That's why I'm doing this podcast because you do so much for us. I'm like, let me give back in some way. So, okay, so you're riding Everest, you're loving it. Um, were there like any other movies that you just connected with? Were there
Yeah.
characters?
I'm a big princess girly. So any of the princesses I'm obsessed with. I think specifically too, a little bit later in my childhood, but like Tangled is just one of my favorite films.
Oh, yes.
I remember even with the character works girlies like watching like Tangled at like the core sleepovers and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Like those are just such like core memories. It's not called core anymore, but when it was core.
Right, right. The summer camp that they do, the overnight summer camp.
It's like the high school leadership group.
Oh, yes.
It's not core anymore, but it used to
Okay.
be called core.
Okay, got it. Got it. Um, so then, so Rapunzel was your girl?
Yes, and it's so funny because Riviera, like Rapunzel and Pascal, the character that you find at Riviera is Pascal. So like it's just so extra magical that like that was like my first home at Disney
Yeah.
Riviera, like because like it's so like heavily tangled themed. It's like perfect magic. Like I
It
don't know
is.
how they did that.
It is. It is. Well, you just end up where you're supposed to be. That's
Exactly. That's so true.
the more people that I talk to, the more I realize, oh, these random placements aren't so random,
They're not
actually.
random at all.
No, no, they come at the perfect time and you are in the perfect place.
Absolutely.
Okay, so um I wanted to know because I know that you also were into theater as a
Yeah.
kid. How did that start? When did that come into play?
Um, about to say I started character works at around 8 years old. So I think most of once I like understood that like I can ask for things, I'd be like, Mom, I want to be on stage. I want to be on stage. I want to do theater. Like I was just begging her, and then finally my mom signed me up for a little like our gang character works class at the time CYT, and I just fell in love with it. I
Oh.
loved theater. I loved being on stage. I just loved the concept of it. It was just I had such a big personality growing up. Not that I don't now, but I definitely had like a much bigger. I was an only child, so I had a very big personality with like nowhere to like put put
Hmm.
it. So that was like the perfect outlet for me.
Yes, I love it. I associate so much with that. I grew up as an only child. I had a brother who was 14 years older and a brother that was 10 years younger than I was. So
Yes.
essentially, we were all only children, at least in
Yes.
how we were raised. And I was a theater kid too. And you're right, it's that just you need some place to put all of this energy, and it's not with your
Yes.
siblings. And so that's how you do it. That's so good. So you're doing theater. How many shows did you end up doing
Ended up doing
with them?
29 shows. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
so for everyone that doesn't know, Character Works is located in Richmond, Virginia. It is an amazing theater program. I have never seen kids theater at the level that Character Works does it. It's just spectacular. And parents are involved, kids are involved, and it's just a great theater program for learning the arts, learning dancing, learning singing. So just want to put that plug in there
Yes.
since we're mentioning it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then fast forward a bit, you're doing theater, you're loving it, you're getting ready to graduate and leave that program. Are you thinking Disney at all as you're entering college?
I've always like heard of the Disney College program, and I was like, maybe I could do this one day. But I think I had never been far from home. I mean, even Christopher Newport, that's where I went to college. It's in Virginia. It's an hour and a half away. It's not far at all. But like that was daunting enough going an hour and a half away from home because I've never done anything like that before. I just knew I missed my parents. So like I thought about Disney, but I was like, I don't know about moving 14
Yeah,
hours away. I barely want to move an hour and a half away.
right. So
Like that was
when did you actually apply for DCP?
I actually applied after grad school. So I did a 5th year program, and then so that was last year. And then, I've always, towards the end, I was like, I think I'm gonna do it. I'm not sure like what I want to do after college. I finished with my degrees and everything, but like I'm kind of stuck. Like I don't know what to do, and I feel like Disney will be a nice like reset.
Hmm.
And I've always wanted to do it, and like this is the perfect time to do it. Like if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna be able to do it.
No, no, you will not.
Yeah, so let's just do it. Like
Yeah.
why not? And so I applied, and I got in like 4 days later. It was actually
Oh,
insane. Yeah,
that's quick.
it was such a quick turnaround. Like I applied, and they sent me my letter like so quickly. I was student teaching at the time. I literally like got my letter like during my lunch break. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Okay, So how does it work now? Do you have to go through phone interviews
I
or
did
is
do a
that
phone interview. So yeah,
okay?
it was like 4 days after my phone interview. They said they'd let me know in 2 weeks. And then like it was like 4 days later, they're like, you got it.
Congratulations.
And I was thrilled,
Amazing.
That was not the news I was expecting that day. I remember too.
Well, yay. That's a great change. Okay, so you get accepted. How quick from the letter of acceptance to you being in Florida? What was that timing?
Okay. A little bit just because I knew, I had stuff to finish up in Virginia. So I think I got that letter of acceptance around early February
Hmm.
of last year, so 2024,
Okay.
and I left in August.
Okay. Got it.
Early
So,
August, yeah.
okay. So you had plenty of time to prep. What
Exactly.
So, as many people as I've talked to that do the Disney College program, I've always wondered this question. How do you prepare? Like what are you doing besides packing a clothes for every single season because Florida does have every season. What do
hmm
you do?
It's actually very hard to prepare. So I'm not sure if you know this about the Disney College program. They actually don't tell you your role until it's like 6 weeks before. Same with like your housing. So like you don't know. You can try to link up with people before, but you don't know if it works. Like college, I feel like if you linked up with your roommate like
Mhm.
pretty far ahead of time. You like text people and you try to make those bonds, but you don't know if you're actually living with the people that you said you wanted to link up with. It actually worked out for me. I
Mhm.
actually got to room with I actually have my own room, but like I share a kitchen with one of the people that I linked up with, but that doesn't always happen.
Right.
So I'm super fortunate. And then again, my parents were always joking with me. It's like, you could get custodial, you could get any role. You said
Mhm.
you would do any role. And I was like, I know, but I really want to do it. And then with my luck, I ended up getting like the best role ever.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, we'll get to that in just a moment.
Yes.
Sorry. Well, no,
Yes.
let's just jump in now. We're there.
Okay.
So you get your role and you do find out your role before you get there? Because I've heard stories that you don't find out until you're at the desk checking in.
Oh no. So 6 weeks before, you do get an
Okay.
email letting you know your role and location.
Okay.
hmm
Okay. So at that point, do people turn it down once they get their role?
Absolutely. I know
Okay.
a lot of people, um, not trying to talk negatively about certain locations, but they see cosmic rays and they get really overwhelmed. Um,
That's fair.
yes, which honestly is fair. Every time I go in there, I'm overwhelmed as a guest.
That's
So
true. That's true. And Sunny
I
Eclipse is very big and loud. So,
Yeah, and so I can't even imagine. So like just props to those cast members because you are doing great
yeah.
and I don't think I could do what you do. So that's
Right.
amazing.
Right. Right. Okay. So 6 weeks before you find out you are going to be at Riviera,
Yes.
and that's your home. Do you know? Because I know you also had mentioned you are at Riverside
Yeah,
too.
Port Orleans Riverside. Yes.
Yes. Did you find that out as well, or is that just a once you're doing training, they say, oh, you can also do this location?
Yeah, so actually, I was officially transferred for the second half of my program. Basically, what I do though is I missed Riviera so much that I just pick up there because
Oh,
it's my first home and I'm just obsessed with it. And then all the leaders there are just so supportive of me. All like just the higher ups, I just absolutely adore there.
yeah.
So I try to pick up there too, just because they even said like, oh, like you can still pick up here because like
Yeah.
you still have the proficiencies, so please do. So I did.
So, how different are the two? I mean, I know you have one that's a DVC resort and one that is not. Um,
Very different. I
okay.
just very
So
different.
the training that you're going through is vastly different between the two.
The training is the same. It's more of like when you're at the resort, you're just
Hmm.
dealing with different issues. You're
Okay.
dealing with different clientele. You're dealing with just people who, especially at Riverside, who don't really understand. Like this is truly their first time at Disney. So
Mm,
you're not giving them the same spiels you give them at Riviera because if you explain things at Riviera, I'm a DVC member. I already know like what
yeah.
all this is. Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't need to
Keep it
explain anything
easy.
to you. I was like, let me know if you have any questions though. Like, have a great day.
Yeah.
Riverside, they come in, they are they know nothing. They
Oh, they're
know that
newbies.
they know that their travel agent has booked them here.
Oh,
That is
wow.
that is as far as that's sometimes as far as some of these people go. So you are explaining everything. You are explaining at the time virtual queue. You are explaining yes. Now luckily you don't need to explain that. That is there is no more virtual queue.
And
Um
chances are, if they haven't already gotten their lightning lanes, then they're just not going to get them. So, yeah,
and that's a hard thing to explain too
right.
to people, you know. I like maybe you can try and then they're like, "What do you mean try?"
I'm paying all this money.
Exactly. Like that's a
Yeah.
hard thing to like not grasp at first is I'm already paying money. What do you mean I can't ride every ride?
Right.
That's a hard
Right.
thing to grasp.
It is. It is. Oh my goodness. Okay, so then so you have now been there since August. We're
Yes.
filming this, we're recording this the end of April.
Yes.
So how much longer do you have on your program?
Yes. I'm here until July 30th.
Oh, how fun. Oh, good. So you get the heat of the summer.
Yes. Let's say it'll be exciting because I got here in August, so it was like towards the end, although it was still really hot here.
Hmm.
So I got definitely used to it. I'm definitely getting used to the hot weather again though. You know, I got lucky with past few months it's definitely been like perfect weather here. And I've started going outside now and I'm like, oh no, it's starting to get a
Very
little
nice.
hot.
I know. We were there in February, early March, and then we were back in April, the first week of April, when there was,
Wow.
yeah, we love it. We had not been able to go for several months. And so we said we were able to fit 2 trips in. And so
Yes.
we did. And, but that first week of April was really hot for the beginning of April.
Oh, it is. Oh, now? I mean, guests, and it's funny because I have guests now. I was talking to them yesterday. Now they're going upstate, and so they're like, it's gonna be 45 degrees where I am, and I was like, that is not what the temperature is right
No,
here.
no.
Not at all.
No, that's definitely a shock to the body when when you go to those extremes.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so as you're getting into your job working at the resorts, I'm curious what a typical day looks like because I've heard about the rotations, but how does that work in the resorts?
Yeah. Actually, it's a little bit different. We have less rotations for us just because, you know, a typical day is, you know, you want to need to be on stage as much as possible. Sometimes you have to go backstage real quick. Sorry if I'm using the lingo. I'm just so
Oh
used
no,
to
no,
it.
no. I'm good. And I
Okay.
think that the people that are listening, I think that we've talked about stuff enough that they can figure it out.
Yeah, okay, perfect. You're trying to be on stage as much as possible because you know you need to be there for guests. Sometimes you do need to go off stage to talk to some of our rooms people, our rooms managers who are know a little bit more information of, hey, I'm talking to the guests and they're really curious about getting a higher floor. That's like a request at Riviera, and actually at Riverside it's the opposite. They want the ground floor. So it's so funny. Just going back to resorts, because you get a high floor at Riviera, they're thrilled, and then you get second floor at Riverside, and they're like, I want the first floor.
Right.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just getting understanding those different requests too. So you're going back there for a second, saying, hey, like, do we have this opportunity to, you know, give in to the request? Sometimes, you know, unfortunately, especially what time you checked in, there's just nothing available. You know, I know the team back there tries to do their best. I mean, they look through all the resort, and sometimes they can come back with great news saying we could meet your request, and sometimes just unfortunately. But what we try to do is if we can't meet your request, we offer a room change. So the next day, typically we can meet your request.
Got it. So a lot of times it's not necessarily a just that day, but you can make do for one night and then switch it up.
Exactly. If
Okay.
you're willing to, you know, do the process of a room change, the only thing is a room change is like you're checking out of the hotel. You would need to store our luggage with us and then wait for that new room. But if you're just going to the park that day, you don't think you'll be in the room, it's
Yeah.
always a really good opportunity to do that. So you can get the room, especially at Riviera. Like, you know, if you really want that higher floor room and you really want that beautiful view, I mean,
Hmm.
and if you're just going to the park that day, I mean, just pack up all morning. It's not like you've really settled in if you've only been there for one day. And then
Right.
the rest of your vacation, you get a beautiful view.
That's awesome. Awesome. That's a great tip. Um,
Yeah.
now I have heard a lot of rumors about don't check in on the phone, check in person. What would you say is the best for a guest to do?
Yes, I know there is a lot of rumors about that. Personally, it's the same.
Okay.
We have a system. It's called ARA. They are the ones who assign the rooms the day before anyway.
Oh, okay. There you
So
go.
but it's a computer system. So checking
Yeah.
in online versus checking in person won't do a thing. But again, if you love the guest interactions, we're happy to interact with you. The only difference is once you check in online, obviously, if you don't love the room that you were assigned, you can come to the front desk and we can try to make some magic.
Hmm.
But that would be the same as if you checked in online and checked in person. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'm old school. I love checking in person. I love that interaction and
and we
it's
love to talk to you
yeah,
too.
it's where you really get the feel of where you are because the cast
Yeah.
members do have, with the costumes and
Yes.
the smell of the waiting
Yes.
lobby, all of it is just so special.
Yes, both of my resorts. I'm like immune to the smell now because like I've been there so much, but everyone always walks in, they're like, "Oh, it smells so beautiful." And
Yeah.
again, I'm immune to it now. Like every time I walk into Riviera too, I don't even smell it
Oh,
anymore.
that's so funny. It's just permeated so much.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm so used to the scent, I guess.
Yeah. Well, okay, what does a typical day look like for you then if
Yeah.
you're at a resort?
Yeah, so it depends on what kind of shift you have between a morning and an afternoon shift. Typically, in a morning shift, you're doing a lot of check outs plus check ins if it's a morning shift. And then versus an afternoon shift, it's definitely more. Well, at first it's check-ins, and then towards the end of the shift, it's going to be a lot of putting gift cards on file, or like working out some kinks that might have happened like negatively at the parks. I didn't have the best day at the park. Like, can we kind of talk through? And trying to see. Sometimes we don't have full power, so we have to send them to guest services so they can spread some pixie dust. But we can try our best. Some lightning lanes weren't doing well, we can like refund those. I have the power to like refund the lightning lane, some small stuff like that.
Awesome.
So yeah, and then also magic band issues. That's gonna be me. I
Okay.
I'm pretty good too with magic band issues. I'm good at like reading like the codes that are on the magic bands and kind of understanding, okay, I think this is what's wrong with the band.
Yeah. What are you seeing most often that's popping up for that?
Most often with the magic bands, honestly, I mean, the biggest issue is that during check-ins, a lot of people don't set a PIN number. Um, and basically they're like, I can't charge my magic band. My magic band's not working. Your magic band's working fine.
Yeah.
It's
The
working
pin.
beautifully. We
Yeah.
just need to set a PIN number. This will take 2 seconds.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what you do is because you guys have the scanner, so you scan it and then it reads the codes of here's
It,
what's missing.
yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, cool. Um, well, I'm curious because you have so much guest interaction.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite guest experience that you've either been able to witness or you've been able to be a part of? Like one of those just really special Disney moments.
I don't want to say favorite because honestly, I love most of my guest interactions. But what I think is just absolutely so special is every time a guest comes up to me and like gives me like little bracelets that like they made, or like gives me like little like just like small things. We can't accept anything like over a certain amount of money, but like I'm like literally wearing the bracelets that like guests have like made for me. They say like magic maker. They have like Disney quotes. Like to me, that is just so kind that you're taking time out of your day
Mhm.
to make me a bracelet. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, I am being paid to be here, like, but like, that is so sweet. Like, taking the time out of your day to do that. Like, I just think that is so kind.
Yes. Okay, awesome. So those little touches, you
Yeah,
like
like
those.
those touches of guests, but like, just, no, talking with guests. Honestly, I love to just, they come to the desk frustrated. Like, you know, Disney's supposed to be so magical, and I feel like I haven't been having a magical time, and being able to, you know, yeah, like, how can we fix this? Like,
Hmm.
how can we sprinkle pixie dust for you? Like, what's been happening? How can we fix it? It's just like little things too of like, you're waiting in line of like all day, you just having a bad day, just refunding like a lightning lane.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure just you being able to do that can take someone from here where their day has just been so awful and it just diffuses the situation just by just that little bit.
Exactly. It's
Yeah, it's like,
amazing. Just
oh, you're listening.
they come so frustrated, and yeah, sometimes they just want someone to listen. And I was like, yeah, that is a very frustrating experience.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Um, any behind the scenes experiences that you've had that you are willing to share?
Um, like behind the scenes experiences, um, like at the hotel or just in.
Sure, sure. In or any, just any fun Disney, just by being a cast member or just being such a frequent guest.
Well, I mean, being a cast member, some of the things that we are so privileged to do, at least from Resort, is they let us do behind the scenes tours of some of the rides, which is like the coolest thing ever. So my two favorite ones, I mean, I've done a lot, but some of my favorite ones have been Haunted Mansion. We got to like see how Haunted Mansion works. We got to like walk under the ride. Oh, it was like the
I
coolest. Yeah, it was the coolest experience of my life.
I doing okay, I'm 40 years old and I am just kicking myself that I never did the Disney College program because to be able to do that would just and they don't offer that to guests.
No, no, they don't.
Keys to the Kingdom, you don't get to do that on Keys to the Kingdom.
No, you don't.
Oh,
And
that's so cool.
it's funny too. So one of the things they do when you do this backstage tours is they take your blue ID and they put it in this little box, to make sure you are a cast member. And they say it's like, and if you film any of this, like we will term you on the spot. So like you can't film it either. This is for just your eyes,
Yes,
which
yes.
is so cool. But yeah, we got to like walk. Like I got to walk around Haunted Mansion, like the track of Haunted Mansion. So cool.
So
It
was
was.
this after hours after the park had closed?
It's actually in the morning, so you get up pretty early that day.
Worth
Um,
it?
yes, and typically you actually have to work that day, so everyone is like with their coffees, like I work at 2 p.m. I work at 3 p.m.
Yeah. So fun.
But yes,
Oh my
um,
gosh. Okay, so you got to do Haunted Mansion.
I got to do Haunted Mansion. That one was probably for the nostalgia purposes the coolest. Just because I've been riding that ride forever, so like just seeing how it works, how like all the animatronics work, like it was so cool. It
Oh
was
my
so cool.
gosh. Oh gosh, to just to be able to see that ballroom scene.
We got to go underneath that ballroom scene. Yeah,
Amazing.
it was so
Amazing.
cool.
Okay, so
Yeah,
if anyone is thinking about not doing the Disney College program, that might convince them.
not alone. And
That's so
then
cool.
my other favorite one too has been Guardians. So we got to, yeah, that was so cool.
That's cool. So lights on, like are you walking the track on that one?
Yeah, we got to walk the track on that one. We got to touch the moon.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they were like, "You guys want to touch the moon?" Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. So we got to see how that works. What I really like about the backstage tours too is it's not just the ride. They like to take us through the pre-show and like kind of show us like some little like things you wouldn't notice about the pre-show. So now every time I ride it, I'm like, "Did you know this?"
Well, tell me, what should I know about that one?
um a lot of things about the pre-show is actually super unique. They actually had some for Guardians, they had more animatronics built, but just due to COVID, there was some budget cuts. They had to like cut some of the animatronics, which is why on Guardians they're all screens of their faces.
Yes.
They That was not the plan. They were originally supposed to have more animatronics, which I think is super cool. But budget
Yeah.
cuts, COVID, what can you do?
Right.
But that's why there's a lot more screens in the pre-show than originally planned. So that's just
Okay.
like a fun fact. So like every time I go in Guardians, did you know there was supposed to be a rocket animatronic in this room?
Can you imagine how cool a rocket animatronic would have been?
I know, like I understand why Disney had to do it, but like in my head, I'm like, I would have loved a rocket animatronic for
I
Guardians. I would have.
know. I know. That would have
Uh,
been so cool. Okay.
yeah.
Now, to get those, is it lottery? Like, are you just applying for them or?
For the Guardians one at my location for Riviera, yes, that was a lottery. That one was luck.
Okay.
Most of the time though with the older rides, the older cast members who are there, since at Riviera, it's a pretty small staff, so typically the most CPs you have at a time is four. So they're the only ones who haven't really done these backstage tours. All these older cast members, they're like, I've already done it.
Hmm.
Sometimes if it's a cool one, they're like, I'll like Tower, like they're like, I'll do it again. But
Yeah.
most of the time, they're like, I've done it, and I don't need to wake up early to do it.
Right. And so they just have like, hey, we have this opportunity at Riviera
They're
and
just signups.
oh,
Yeah, there's
that's
just
cool.
signups. Because I know they wanted to do a Haunted Mansion one again, so I told them, and I was like, I would love to join you for that one.
Yes.
Like that one, I don't care about waking up early. Like I do that one again. That was the coolest thing ever.
That's so, so cool. Awesome. Um, if you could do a backstage tour on another ride, which one would it be?
I actually haven't done the tower one, so
Hmm.
I would love to do the tower. I've heard that one is just so incredible, and
Yeah.
it just again, it's like another classic ride of.
Right.
So definitely
Right.
Tower of Terror.
Well, and I think with Tower of Terror, they did a really amazing, I mean, with all of the rides, they do a great job with the theming and the details. But I think on that one in particular, the details are really detailed.
Hmm.
We even noticed there's one spot if you are in the line and it forks and you go to the left, which normally we go to the right. But on
Hmm.
that one, we went to the left once and there's a drip that just drips
Yes.
down. I was like, that's such a cool detail. It's just one drip, but it's so neat.
They think of everything. It
Yes.
astounds me. Even like doing the backstage tours, there's like in Haunted Mansion, it's so dark, but like there's these like little details of like in that first room, there's like so many paintings that like represent all these things. And it's like, I didn't even notice that. And like I've ridden this ride
Mm-hmm.
so many times.
Mm-hmm. My son has read the Haunted Mansion books. He's seen everything that he can about Haunted Mansion. That's like his top
Oh,
ride. Now that he's riding roller coasters, he likes the other ones too, but that was like
oh yeah.
his original favorite. And so he's always saying, "See that is, that portrait is this person," and he'll name who it is and yeah.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what they did to us on the tour. And it's just like the details. Like I don't even think of these things. Like that is so cool.
I know. I know. Just what happens when the imagination can go wild.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get back to guests. I'm
Yeah.
curious, what is something that you wish guests would stop doing?
I wish guests would stop believing TikTok. And I love TikTok. I
Hmm.
love it. And especially as concierge, that's like something that like we like see TikToks with misinformation. And like now we've started like commenting on them like this is not true. Do not go in with these expectations. This is so false. So
Yeah.
so false. Especially sometimes we can make one-time exceptions for guests, which is super exciting. We try to honestly spread pixie dust, and when we do, guests like to tell about their story. But when they tell about their story, they don't explain that it was a pixie dust moment, that this is how it works, which
Hmm.
is not true.
Right.
So it sets some false expectations. So then it makes us have to give bad news, and we hate giving bad news. We really try to solve for yes. Sometimes there's just situations where we can't do anything.
Yeah.
One of my favorite examples of this is we have no extra rooms. No extra rooms. That is not a thing. You come, you check in at 10 p.m. I want a different room. There is no extra rooms. If you are the last person that you're getting the room, we just don't have any extra rooms. I know some hotels they do have spare rooms.
Hmm.
I'm like telling you from behind the scene, there is not one spare room on property.
Right.
The showroom is not a spare room. That is
Hmm.
a showroom. So
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
not a spare room. There's no. So I guess that's like my biggest thing of just don't believe TikTok. Sometimes they have helpful tips, but most of the tips they are giving is misinformation.
Yeah.
And then they come to the desk and it's just something, we just can't, we don't have the ability to do.
Right. What is another one that you've heard that, or can you remember any that you've heard and you're like, oh, no, 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 don't do that. That's not true.
I'm trying to think. One of the biggest ones I just think of this is so small, but people think that they can get their packages for for free to the hotel. Um, it's just a $6 fee. It's not like it's anything big. But then when there is that $6 fee, guests get really upset
Hmm.
because they're like, I was told. you can give me my packages for free and it's straight to the room. There is a $6 package and handling fee that we do
Hmm.
ask, but you can absolutely get things sent to the hotel. You forget something, you can get it sent to the hotel. Absolutely. But
Yep.
it is not free. It
Yeah.
is that $6 fee.
Well, it creates
And
extra work for you guys.
exactly. And
Yeah.
it's not even that's like a different task that's some of our runners. So that's just a task for them to do. And they want to spend their day doing those magical moments, but sometimes, they have to be logging packages because
Mhm.
if that's the priority of the job, then we can do well, let's deliver these fun things to the room because this guest was just felt like they needed like some extra magic. But
Yeah.
we can't do that if there's so many packages, which again, we're happy
Yeah.
that you have the packages, but yes, there is a $6 fee and guests try to get that waived and it's not on us to waive it,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It's So that's like one of the biggest ones that like I see on TikTok. It's like you can get packages delivered for free. No, you cannot. It
Take
is
out
not free.
take out
Yeah,
the for
exactly.
free. You can get them
Take out the
delivered.
You can get them delivered
Yeah.
absolutely. $6 fee. And I mean $6 fee in the end compared to a Disney trip is like nothing.
Yeah.
So if you really
Yeah.
need that, I encourage you to have things sent to the resort.
Right. Right.
Exactly. It's just
Yep.
not free.
Exactly. Exactly. We experienced that for the first time staying at the fort.
Yeah.
We needed a couple of things that we didn't have, and we didn't feel like running to the store. And we got that feel. And we were like, oh, well, that makes sense. So it just,
Yeah. A lot of kids just get a little upset just because it's like an extra thing of like it's $6 I don't want to pay, which I get it. But unfortunately, it's not. That's something especially we easily cannot waive. Sometimes again we try to create magical moments. That's like something we
Mhm.
don't really have the power to waive.
Right. Um, so I know early on when we were talking, you said that you want to be stationed at Saratoga.
I just for like one shift. So
Yeah.
basically, what you can do is I've actually had the privilege of picking up a couple different locations. So
Where
I've
else
worked
have you
all
been?
Yeah, so I've worked at All Star Movies. I actually worked at Fort Wilderness. I picked up a shift there.
That
That was
that's
super
fun. I'm
fun.
sure that's a very different experience.
That one was a very different experience. What I like that you get to learn about too is with the campers, people just are very picky about the location of the campers, but sometimes, I mean, it's just the size of the spots. Like sometimes we just can't change your spot
Yeah.
because it's just the size. You have a vehicle and you paid for this size. That
Hmm.
is like there's only a few of those spots. You're like, I don't like the location of this spot. That's the only one that is unfortunately going to fit your vehicle.
Yep. Yep. That's it.
So like there's things, for like location of other ones, we try to do, you don't like this location, let's try to get you in a different
Mhm.
location. That one's a little bit trickier because it's like these are your measurements. You need to be able to fit in the spot you paid for.
Right.
This
Right.
is what we can do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was a fun one to pick up. I also did Coronado.
Oh, that's
That was
cool.
that was a really nice.
That's a really cool lobby.
It was a very nice lobby. I really liked the costume too. It was really cozy.
Oh, good.
Yes, I really liked that one. So those are a couple ones I've picked up at. So yeah, I would love to pick up at Saratoga just because it's like my home.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of where else. Probably I've always wanted to pick up at Beach Club just because that's
Yeah.
like personally, I mean now Riviera is like slowly working up to my favorite hotel just because of everything else about it.
Yeah.
But like Beach Club was like my original favorite hotel, so I'd love to just work one shift there to just be like,
Hmm.
I did it, worked at my favorite
Hmm.
hotel.
It's pretty special. That's one of our favorites. That and
Yeah.
Riviera. Yacht
Yeah.
Beach and Riviera. We love just kind of doing that hop and going to those hotels.
Yeah.
I hope you get that. I hope you can go to Beach Club for a
Thank
little bit.
you. I
It
know
is. It's fun and special.
I've been looking on the Facebook where people are getting rid of their shifts, so wish me luck, but
I
I've been
really
looking.
Okay, good. I hope that you can. And so when you get a new shift, I guess you just go to costuming and pick up the costume for the day.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty easy. Again, that's I know a reason why some people only like to work certain locations because they don't
Hmm.
want to get that extra costume. But we're able to have five at a time, so
Oh.
it's not yeah, so it's not like it's impossible
Hmm.
to you just do have to do the extra work of going to costuming, getting that correct costume. But you can have five at a time. So I'd
That's
say I
cool.
have two from Riverside. I have two from Riviera currently, and then I have one for Art of Animation.
Oh, neat. Okay, so if you weren't doing concierge, what would you want to be doing at the Disney parks?
I have two that I always think of. One is, I think, guest relations. It's like the slight difference of concierge, but I like the fact that you can help with like all guest issues. And like, I always hate sending people to guest services. Like, sometimes it's just like, I just simply don't have the power
Yeah.
to give you like a free ticket. So I would love to be guest relations, you know?
Hmm.
It's like actually have the power to do that, to like always to really solve for people's issues. Cause again, we try our best, but sometimes we just don't have the tools to create a solution.
Right.
So I always think of guest services because, you know, they do have the tools to create a happy ending, which is, you know, that is
Yeah.
something that like I would love to do.
Right.
And always attractions, you know, it just who wouldn't want to work on like their favorite ride?
I know. I know. To be able to be there all the time, that would just be pretty cool.
Exactly. I just think the especially my friend works on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
I love
Yes.
it. I
And
love that one.
exactly the way she like talks about it, and like tells me like all this like little details, like it's like just going on the backstage tour, like understanding like the small details of it is just
Hmm.
so interesting. So being
Hmm.
able to do that, um, plus she always lets me in the lightning lane. So sweet of her. Whenever I come to work,
Fun little perks.
I know she's so
Yes.
sweet for that.
Oh my gosh. We Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, for some, I can't tell you why it is one of my tip top favorite rides, but it is. And so whenever we're in Hollywood, I have to ride that one. And in fact,
Yeah.
my magic band is a Chubby magic band, the little
Oh,
orange bird.
Chippy! I
Uh-huh.
love that you know what that
Oh
is like the
yes.
that was like the first thing that like she explained to me while doing the ride. She's like, so this is our mascot, Chubby.
Yes. He was supposed to be chubby, but someone
Yes, and
misspelled
then
him.
someone I love
Yes.
that you know that. Yes,
Oh yeah.
I
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Chubby and I go way back. No.
oh every time I go on this ride with my friends, I every room I see him in, I'm like, Chubby! And then all my friends are like, huh? That
Hmm.
orange bird?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, he has a name and he has a backstory and he's
Yes, he
amazing.
does. And
And
he's
I
great.
love him so much at the very end that I always forget I'm about to get shocked. And so I go
Yes.
every single time.
He's always waving by. He's always so
Yes.
cutie.
He is, he is. But there's so many fun details in that one. Like when you're in the last room before you get smashed and then everything turns happy,
Yes.
the lampposts, like they if you actually just look to the
Yeah.
side, you can see them do their switching too. It is just
So
fascinating the
cool.
details they put into that.
No, I that's probably the ride that and Guardians are the ones I've gone on the most. Just because of my friend Grace. I typically always go on that ride because I always like to visit her.
Shout
And
out Grace.
yes, shout out Grace. She's amazing. She's killing it at the railway. Um, and then Guardians, I just
Yeah.
have gone on many times for because it's an amazing ride.
Yeah. I sadly am at the point where I've realized the limitations of my body and I cannot do guardians anymore. So I just have decided that's what happens. So
That's a hard decision.
it is, but you know what? It's so much better than feeling sick the rest of the day. So
Oh, absolutely. Especially at Epcot. You don't want to
no.
feel sick at Epcot.
No, and I like eating the food. I would rather go eat some of the food around the world while my family rides it.
I mean, me and my friends at the beginning of the program would literally go to Guardians, would go on Guardians for the virtual queue, and then leave the park.
Yeah.
Like because we had our goal of getting all five songs. So, you know, we had to continue going every day until we got all five songs.
How long did it take you to get all of the songs?
I got my fifth song around November. It took a while.
Okay. And what is your favorite of all of them?
September, for
Good
sure.
answer. Good. I feel like
That is
that's the only
it's
answer.
the correct answer.
It is.
But I
It
know
is.
some people have their different opinions, but it's the correct answer.
It is. It is. So much so that my kids are obsessed. They're anytime they see records, they're looking for records just to find September and is Earth, Wind, and Fire September in here? No, it's not.
Yes.
Okay. So, what's next for you?
Well, I actually applied for the company part-time, full-time. So I am waiting to hear back about that because, you know, I just made too many bonds, too many. I can't leave. Well,
Yes.
hopefully. I don't
Oh
want to
my,
say, yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness. I am going to be sending all of the good vibes for that. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes.
So, we'll see. So, hoping for the best.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so um for anyone that's wondering, that's just after the college program's over, you can apply to just stay, right?
Yeah, so basically it's just gonna be, college program, they do treat not like badly, but they just treat you differently because they know, you're only here for a year and that's so like
You
sometimes
don't
you
get
don't.
priority. You don't like there's a lot of things
Yes,
I'm
you
sure that
get
yeah.
you definitely are always night shifts unless, which I don't mind, especially
Mhm.
as someone who's younger. I like to sleep in.
Yeah.
So or like I like to like start my day with like reading a book or maybe going to a park at the beginning of the day and like then heading to work.
Right.
Especially Riviera is super nice because I have been prone to like going to Epcot, taking the Skyliner and just changing into my uniform and going to work
That's amazing.
because you can.
Because you can. And why not? You are in a magical place. Why not have a
Exactly.
magical mode of transportation?
Exactly. Like you
Yeah.
only can do this once, so
I
might as
know.
well.
I know. So if that comes through, then you have to find an apartment and all of that.
Yeah.
Like that's cool though.
Yeah, that's super cool and exciting. It'll be nice to I've loved Flamingo for what it is. For those who don't know, they provide you housing if you live here for the Disney College program, which is super nice. It's definitely more of like a dorm room, so it's getting adjusted to like kind of like college life again. Especially a lot of the people are like in 19, 18. So
Mhm.
especially for someone who's already graduated, it can be such like a culture shift of going back to like like some people are like kind of late at night.
Mhm.
um I can sleep through anything, so I really don't mind it, but it's just something to get used to again.
Right. Right. And you're sharing I mean, you have your own room, but
I
you
do
are
have my own
sharing
room.
some common spaces and
Yeah, we're sharing
stuff.
common spaces again. I really don't mind. I think my roommates are also sweet. The one who I share a bathroom with, she's from Ireland, so she's in the international college program. She's like the coolest human ever.
Oh, that's so cool. Where is
Yeah.
she then say is she in
She's
England?
actually at the UK
Yeah.
Pavilion. Yes, she
Okay.
is.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
she loves
cool.
it.
Oh, that's neat. Okay, awesome. So, I will be crossing my fingers and
Thank
hoping that that
you.
comes through. Do you have an idea of how long until you find out?
They tell you 6 weeks before your program ends, so
Okay.
that can be a little scary.
Yeah.
But if not, I can move back to Virginia and figure out what I want to do.
Right.
But I am hoping for that because, I just can't leave. I've had too good of a time here.
Right. Now,
I love what I do.
would that be concierge or could it be something else?
So for my preference that it would be concierge, but I said I'd be willing to do like attractions or merch, something like that.
Okay, awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, I want to stay in contact with you because I want to keep finding out what happens with
Oh,
that.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, good,
Yes.
good.
And next time you come to Disney,
I know.
yes.
Well, we did go through Riviera that first week in April. We did a scavenger hunt where we were looking for pins and we were trying to go from A to Z.
Mhm.
And so we would find a pin and then if it matched that letter, then we would trade it into another location and just try to go through the alphabet. I'm not explaining it very well, but
No, no, no. I know what
you
you mean.
follow, yes.
You probably did see me then. I'd say I'm at Riviera about
Yeah.
40 hours a week. So
I'll have to look at my video because we recorded it for our YouTube channel, and
yeah.
I'll have to look at my video and see if you were there.
If not, it was one of my coworkers, and they're amazing
Oh
too.
my gosh, yes. Well, we do have just magical times at Riviera, especially. Okay, are you ready for the magic minute questions?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so these will take longer than a minute, but the idea is I want you to just come up
Quick.
with the first one that comes to your head.
Okay.
Okay, what is your favorite Disney movie?
Tangled.
Yeah, yeah, I know we covered that one. And I think that I know the answer to this. What character do you identify with the most?
Oh, Eeyore.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah. So I'm a psychology major. A lot of people don't know this, and I don't want to get too into it because it's like a long explanation, but all the Winnie the Pooh characters represent a psychological disorder. So because of that, I've become really obsessed with the Winnie the Pooh characters
Mhm.
personally. All my friends know this about me. Like my room is like full of Winnie the Pooh memorabilia. I don't want to show you my messy room, but like it is full to the brim of I like will talk about the Winnie the Pooh characters to anyone,
Yeah.
especially Disney cast members. That's always a question like, "Oh, what's your favorite character?" I
Hmm.
immediately Eeyore, Winnie,
Yeah.
like Piglet, Tigger. They're all but
That's
yeah.
okay. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, we love going to Crystal Palace. I mean, for the food, but also
Yes.
those characters.
No.
The meet and greets are just so sweet.
I've done it 4 times while being here. Like it's yeah, I love Crystal Palace. It's one of
Yeah.
my favorite places. They are all so kind there.
They are. They are. And truly the character interactions there, even when you think that your kids have outgrown Winnie the Pooh, they really haven't.
Never.
Because
Yeah.
those characters, those in particular are just magnificent. Like they form a connection with you.
Oh, I just love them.
Yeah. Okay. Um, if you could only visit one park, what would it be?
Hollywood.
Okay. And then if you could only have time for one ride going in and out, what would it be?
Oh, that's tricky. Toy Story Mania.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know what your highest score has ever been?
I don't know. I'm fun fact, I'm not even like amazing at it. I don't have the best hand-eye coordination, but I love the competition aspect of it. Like every time I go,
Yes.
I never really beat. I only beat my parents, but like when
Hmm.
I go with my friends, I'm always like, I'm gonna beat you. I'm never
Hmm.
gonna beat them, but I just love the competition aspect of it.
Right.
Like it brings it out of me. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna do great.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I will never beat my husband either, but yes, I love that one.
I love that ride.
I always know do not do the practice because I will be too
Oh,
tired. Don't do it.
every time my friends always
Yep.
judge me, but I'm like,
Mm-mm.
hands are up.
Nope, I'm
I'm not
stretching.
wasting
Yep.
I'm not wasting my time on that round. No points? Absolutely not.
Yes, yes. If I'm not warmed up on the first window, then it's done.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. If you have to go on property, so that would be resorts and parks, and pick a snack or food, what would it be?
Oh, the beignets.
Hmm.
The
Mhm.
beignets.
Yeah.
I'm not just biased. It was the beignets before I was at Riverside. Once I got the transfer, my parents even told me, if you get you can't get beignets every day, Jessica. Like you can't do that. It's just gonna be so unhealthy for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I but they're so good.
They're so good.
And they're so much better than the beignets
They
that
are.
you find at Magic Kingdom.
They are, and I will die on that hill.
Yes.
I mean, I think the dipping sauces is what helps, but
Hmm.
those dipping sauces, they mean so much to me.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I talked to Jedi Justin, who was from New Orleans. He did a lot of Star Wars stuff
Um,
at Hollywood, and with the Galactic Star Cruiser and everything. But he was from New Orleans, and he told me that the Port Orleans beignets, he said those are the closest you will get to New Orleans beignets. And I was like, okay, great.
they're so good.
They're so good. Yep. Okay. Oh, favorite dipping sauce then.
Caramel.
Okay. All right. Um, and then I know that you've shared some tips before and things not to do, but if you could impart another tip or trick to us, what would it be?
Um, just a little tip and trick. The cast member is not the one who assigned your room. So just treat them with grace. It might not have been the request that you put. It was a computer system, it was not us. Um, So just remember that. You have every right to be upset. You have every right to yell if that is something that you're so passionate about. But just remember the cast member was not the one who did anything.
Yeah.
Or when you're and then one more. Check-in starts at 4. Your room is not guaranteed at 4.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
That's
good to
another
know.
one. So don't yell at the cast member when
Yeah.
your room because it starts at 4, it's not guaranteed at 4.
Okay. All right. Cool. And I guess a lot of the holdup could be if there were a lot of checkouts that day. If,
Most of the time it's just housekeeping.
yeah,
They do their best. They
yeah.
really do. Um,
But in these big
Sometimes
resorts, that's a lot that they have to do in a day.
exactly. Some of these big resorts, it's, they do as fast as they can. And then one of the things too is the room might actually be done,
Hmm.
but it needs to do that visual inspection. And there's no one there to do the visual inspection. And that is sometimes some of the issue that makes it from 4 to 4:15.
Hmm.
And just remember, the cast member is not the one who can help with that. I
Yeah.
mean, you can of course ask and I'm happy to check on it for you. Absolutely. Please feel free to ask to check on it. But just remember, the cast member is not the one who can do the visual inspection, so they can't make it go any faster. They
Yeah.
would love for you to be in your room too,
Yeah.
but sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, that's really good information. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Okay, well, Jessica, any way that if people want to follow you, do you have public social media so people can see your adventures?
Yeah. So on my mostly Instagram and TikTok.
Okay.
So Instagram it's Jessica Brown 10 is my Instagram, and then TikTok think it's Jessica Brown 7. It's like
Okay.
I'm not very creative. It's my name.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, cool. Well, Jessica, thank you so, so much for doing
Thank
this.
you. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I cannot wait to hear what the next few months hold for you. I'm going to be crossing my fingers.
Thank you so much. And next time
Yeah.
you're at Disney, let me know.
I will. Right now, we're not scheduled to be there until the fall, but we'll see if we can
Mhm.
squeeze a summer trip in there.
Yeah,
We'll see.
exactly.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
That's a wrap on this episode of Backstage Pass. I hope you loved getting a glimpse behind the magic with me today. As a note, the stories and views expressed in this podcast are not affiliated with, endorsed by, or sponsored by the Walt Disney Company. And the stories, they don't stop here. I want to hear from you. If you're a current or former Disney cast member with a story to share, or if you've had a truly magical experience with a cast member in the parks, I'd love to feature it on a future episode. Reach out to me at the link in the show notes. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with fellow Disney fans. Until next time, keep believing in the magic.